The crypto market is about to go on the craziest run ever. And I think that everything that's happening right now with Trump, with the US dollar, with gold, is setting us up for a massive run that is most likely going to be lasting at least a few months. So again, to give you all a rundown, what is currently happening in the crypto market is kind of a nothing burger. Really, for the most part, we are following along with the stock market, with that mostly being led now by Trump, retaliatory tariffs, and just chaos in that sense. If you want to know what's going on in the stock market, let me give you a brief little breakdown. Trump, over the last few weeks, has talked a lot about tariffs. It's basically to restore the economic balance, and he wants to set in place new tariffs to make sure all these countries come up with a trade deal of sorts, just to make sure the balance is now proper. Now, it's debatable as to what the numbers on that should be, but that is his stance. There's a few countries, though, that have been quite interesting in that regard, one of which being China, because China don't mess around, all right? China doesn't want to budge. And so Trump is now saying, you know what, China, if you don't want to negotiate a new deal, we'll give you even higher tariffs. And China said, well, we want to negotiate, but you got to come down a bit. They're like, nope. Higher tariffs again, and that's kind of a little battle back and forth between China and the US. And what caused, or what made that call? What happened after that? Well, the stock market saw one of the worst breakdowns ever. And then quickly afterwards, when Trump said, you know what, we're pausing the tariffs against all these countries, it saw the biggest gain since 2008. So definitely some crazy shenanigans, some crazy volatility. And crypto, even though we did not see some of the craziest gains or losses in this territory, there was some liquidation sprees, but really they were not that crazy. We did notice it's a one-to-one correlation for the most part with the stock market, except for a few very specific days. And it made me think, why is that? Well, in reality, it's because most people still are buying an asset like Bitcoin or XRP or really anything. By the way, I'm in my villa here over in Bali. I thought let's just do the background for once. Hope you guys don't mind. I think it's kind of cool here. Regardless, I think most people are still buying it just because they think it's an investment, like how they see the S&P and stuff as investment, rather than buying it for the fact that it's the future of finance. And so why I think that will soon change, and specifically this move now, is the distancing factor. Partially because of what we've seen in gold. We've seen a rally in gold right now we have basically never seen anywhere before, right? Gold has gone on such a spree, and I just personally think that will be the push that people need to basically fly to safety. That is mostly fueled by the US dollar now seeing some sort of crash and people being uncertain whether or not we're entering into a recession or if the market is going to go on a surge unlike we've ever seen. So if people for that reason are staying away from these stocks and they're buying their way into things like gold, again, that's what we've literally been seeing over the past few days, few weeks right here. Well, what is the next step then? I'm thinking, well, at some point they'll realize gold also has some very, very big flaws. Or rather, there's another asset like a Bitcoin and some other cryptocurrencies that have kind of like the same pros to being a store of value, but have less cons, like being kind of awkward to store / move, and that you know the exact amount that exists. That's the nice thing with these coins. There's a few other ones, like how it can change the world of finance in that sense, but let's just stay at the basics and just say, what are the benefits from Bitcoin over gold? There's a lot of easy ones to pick. Now, with that said, if gold just went on a crazy rally because everybody's uncertain, and Bitcoin right now is just kind of like a one-to-one with the stock market, etc., don't we really just need one big catalyst, one big aha moment? We've already had Donald Trump and all the others say, you know what? Bitcoin and these things, we need a strategic reserve because we do not want to miss out on more gains over time. And don't you think as well that all we need basically here is just one additional spark, one more move before things just start rolling? And things are, from that moment on forward, most likely unstoppable. I've stated before and I'll say it again, even though it could take another few weeks, it could take a little bit of time for us to start this rally, I think the next time it does, it'll most likely be because there's something so uncertain happening in the stock market that it will push our crypto prices so far beyond your imagination, the whole world will be shocked. That's my personal expectation still. And I think that only will be the moment where we start seeing the crazy rally, most likely be somewhere between August of this year, 2025, and then maybe January of 2026 or so. Within this time is where I think the craziest of the run will be. And right now, all I'm doing is basically chilling and preparing for that moment to hit. I'm preparing for this new massive wave to start because I've already said most of the money, I'm going to say 90% of the money you'll make in crypto is made 10% of the time. You can do all you want in a bad market or in a bear market, you probably won't make a lot of money. You can do better, you can do good, but since your portfolio goes down 80% in this time, or at least your coins do, you can make money, but generally speaking, you'll stay about the same or lose some, right? That's what most people will do. But then again, in a proper market, in a bull market, in a good market, like we saw a few months ago, this is, again, just XRP, for example, went from 50 cents to $3.50 in just 2 months. So it's about a 7x or so in just the span of 2 months. Now, that is on the third biggest cryptocurrency in existence. Imagine some smaller coins, right? And so that is why in this period, right now, what we're looking for is to not lose money. There are a few trading bot strategies, and I've got a video coming up here that'll explain why there are always opportunities everywhere. But if you're buying, for example, low cap meme coins, this is not your time. If you're buying the smallest coins, it can work, but it's not your time. Where again, before in a good market, you have an 80% probability to win. Right now, it's that 20. So again, you can win, but the odds are very much stacked against you. It's not a everybody wins type of market anymore. It's a most people lose, but some people can win. Whereas in a little bit of time, especially with the way macro is pushing us right now, people don't trust these stocks anymore. People don't trust the US anymore. I'm seeing articles right now of them saying, maybe Trump really just wants the world to end up in chaos. I mean, again, like I said, dollar going down, gold going up. Why is that? Because they're flying away, right? Why is he causing so much trouble? We can't really make up our minds just quite yet. There's a lot of different theories. We will not know for sure. All we know is, I think at some point, they will start to realize that out of all these investment options, Bitcoin, XRP, just these top cryptos really aren't that bad of one. They've got the backing by the government. You might say, oh, but then does the U.S. government's stamp of approval matter if the U.S. government is the one to mess all these things up? My response, and by the way, I'm trying to make sure it doesn't look as unironed because it just came from the cleaning. How do you call it? But it's the way I sit, like a gremlin a little bit. The things you care about, huh? No, but I was going to say, really, the situation that we're in is even if the U.S. gave their stamp of approval, but they go down, it will still matter because it legitimized this industry. And many of these investment advisors, even BlackRock, they all know that gold is one thing they can buy, but what is there that has even more gain potential and has more, and this is what I personally say, right? Early adopter privilege. So just besides the gains, there's also a matter of whoever's earliest now, like BlackRock and some of these guys, they've got most to gain. Over the last year or so, they've been setting up infrastructure to be able to trade all this stuff, et cetera, et cetera. You understand as well that for many of these companies, it's not in their best interest yet to start publicly supporting these things. It's better for them to adapt it, to set the rails, to make sure everything is as smooth as possible so they've gotten their foot in the game and then start pushing it to the masses. And there was also a theory about this is one of the most uncertain time for everything ever. Why isn't Michael Saylor buying? And the counter would be, you basically want to do it when you want to kickstart it, so to speak. You want to make sure you put your foot in the door and then the other person's kind of like kick it down, so to speak. So with Michael Saylor, him buying here in a time where it's so obvious, I think would be kind of against the grain. The whole idea should be he's buying before the masses come along, not now that it really makes too much sense. This is like kind of like a late moment, really. So even though you might say, well, panic, it's really for crypto, not that much of a panic moment. And I'd say Michael Saylor probably has a very good strategy for how they acquire these crypto coins. And as long as you don't got enough, or I guess as much influence on the crypto market, as much money, as much of a strategic team as he has, let's, I guess, not debate their choices in that regard and just assume they probably thought well about when to purchase more coins and when not to. And I guess it's not necessarily in our best interest to copy along with them, but it is proper to realize that they've got tens of billions of dollars worth of cryptocurrencies for a very good reason, because they know this wave is about to hit. Trump has been pushing it. All these guys have been pushing it. These are all like small vouchers, really, because at the end of the day, I guess it's about countries giving their stamp approval, like the U.S. and like Pakistan just now. But I think soon enough, all will. It's just a matter of time. Even I think China, Russia, they'll all come back in the words. It's just a matter of time. And I say, in the meantime, it's just us being able to wait it out and seeing through the charade, seeing through all the facades, seeing through all this noise, because we know what we hold. And that's why I hold crypto every single day. I'll keep holding it. I'm not selling it for nobody, no reason. There cannot be a single reason why I'd sell. The only thing I could do is sell to try buy back cheaper. But for the most part, you do that when things are going up, not when they're trickling down with some slight bursts, right? If you're able to buy the dip of the dip, like you were able to buy XRP at $1.60 just now, and you want to sell it here at $2, hey, that's a very good idea. But trying to sell on these very, very small moves upwards, can sometimes be more risky than beneficial. It just depends on how good your trading strategy is. But for the most part, just wanted to say that right now, the way things are working in the world, I'm getting more excited than ever that a massive wave is about to hit. It will take some time. It might not happen overnight. But again, remember what got you into this. Remember that it's not going to be that obvious until it's obvious. For the most part, these crazy opportunities stay hidden until they've happened. And I think that's also what's happening right here. Yeah. You know what? That's about it.